just like seeing her for the first time.
Then he looked at the system window, wondering what now. He received a skill called Madness. Mage, a passive skill, a witchcraft method developed by the mage draw, who had problems releasing mana. He can add a components by filling his body with magic. He is not affected by magic created by himself. The physical strength indicator is added to the magical attack. Damage from magic will additionally cause physical damage. After reading the description, our protagonist wondered, fill the body with magic to make an attack. Could it be that this Dro suffered from a similar disorder to him and fought by infusing magic into his legs? How did he come up with such a method? Then his attention was drawn to the system window notifying him of a new quest. He needed to use a force circling physical strength to hit a tangible target. Looking at the scarecrow in front of him, he asked, hit the target. He hadn't thought of this method, yet if he could become a mage with this, then he should definitely try. The next moment he easily hit the target with a single fireball attack. He smiled when he realized that it worked, and the quest was completed. As a reward he received a plus of points to his strength. After that MC fell to the ground, spreading his arms out to the sides. He thought that he did it, and this quest was finally complete. For every failure was at the discharge stage, but he finally overcame it. To think of such a method, what kind of person was the draw? He wanted to find out right now, but his body was getting heavy after a while. Ruin's classmates gathered around him, talking among themselves. They couldn't understand. Could it be that he had fallen asleep right here? Had he been training until dawn? Ruin slowly opened his eyes and wondered why was it so noisy. A frightened classmate jumped to the side and shouted. Had he woken up, it had scared him. Our sleepy head rose to his feet. He stretched his entire body and yawned widely. Then he asked, why were they crowding around? Was this the first time they had seen a person sleeping outside? One of the students said that it was, and especially a nobleman who was willing to trade the comfort of a nice dorm for the sun outside. He hadn't been drinking. Had he? Ruin walked forward and waved his hand, saying that he was simply so tired that he had fallen asleep on the spot. His classmates had definitized that he had changed, just like the destroyed scarecrow hadn't gone unnoticed. After some time in the dormitory of the Ruin Academy, he entered the room. Near the window stood a sixth student of the Ignant Academy, Jason Damon. Looking out the window, he brushed his teeth. Noticing the student who entered, he asked, did he just come back? Did something happen after all? He usually does not leave the academy. He said that he does not need to know. The eldest son of the Damon family, famous for casting and mining metals, treats him a general outcast, at least not hostilious. Bro character with a sarcastic smile asked, was he really with a girl? Or protagonist thought he was a psycho, obsessed with alcohol and girls, which is why he constantly secretly leaves the academy grounds. Then he threw his shirt in Jason's face. What a brat. How did he pull himself together? After receiving lightning, he should tell in detail what happened last night. Ruin said indifferently that he went to the bathroom, and a few moments later, he was already sitting in the bathtub immersed in water. He sighed heavily, saying that this is better. He thought that there was also an additional task he should check then. A system window appeared in front of him on which was written a repeating task. Body training. Gay thought that the rewards remained the same, but pure repetition and doubled will. It continued to double as expected. It will not be easy, but if it helps him become a mage. A month has passed since Ethan. Repeating tasks can be done once a day, but in contrast to the constantia word, the required number of repetitions increased day by day. If he fails to complete the task within a day, all progress is reset. That's why he never missed a day of training. Probably the only good thing is that the requirements for completing the task do not rise above repetitions, because otherwise he can die in the process. Over the past month, he has been doing these trainings every day, and even got a new skill, the art of the body. It increases body's abilities, depending on the level of training. Stronger and more skillful movements become available soon. Damek passed out at his desk, and his classmates were talking among themselves. They were sure that he was behaving strangely now. He was sleeping in class, although before he did not take his eyes off the board. He actually came to the training ground, and despite the fact that he is a mage, he trains kicks. Thus over the past month, he completed the task and looked for any clues about the identity of Dra, but he could not find any. mages with that name in historical records after examining another book in the library. He realized that there was nothing in this, either also concerning the Destroyer of Worlds player. The status window in quests, he couldn't understand the nature of any of this even closely then. He looked at the system window, there were his stats, strength, agility, wisdom. Wondered who the person was who gave him this power at all, when suddenly at that moment, his bro character came up to him and told him to hurry up. He asked, "What happened?" He said that the head of the Ardle family came to the academy. The protagonist's eyes widened in surprise, and then he quickly ran up to his father. He greeted him with a smile, and after a while, they sat down at the table. Ruin said that he sent him here when he turned. Years have already passed. How has he lived all this time? He replied that everything is fine, unchanged. He asked, "How Ruin is the father?" asked his little sister. She is still all grown up, and is now studying the art of swordsmanship. She says Thatch wants to protect her weak older brother. The protagonist laughed awkwardly, scratching the back of his head, and he said that she has always been self-confident. Then the student said that he is fine. He is fine, and is not being bullied. His father took a sip of tea, and putting the cup back, said that he actually came to find out if he wants to leave the academy. If he is having a hard time, the doors of the house are always open. Hasn't he experienced many hardships and things that he can't talk about? MC said that from the beginning he understood why he came after years, but he must listen. He thinks he has found a way out, so he offers to negotiate. He is obliged to show a good result in the next practical test. However, if he fails, he will do as he wants. He promised his father that he will get good results in the practical exam. His father realized his determination, and after their conversation, he turned to the estate. And so the long-awaited exam day arrived. The evil uncle teacher hit Hishand with a pointer and announced the beginning of the written exam on understanding magic. They should keep in mind that any violation will be punished by updating the result. They can begin. The exam is divided into written and practical parts. The practical part of its turn is divided into 4 more parts: aimed shooting, measuring magical power, real combat, and one-on-one combat. As a holder of a disorder of magic relief, he passed the written part perfectly throughout the entire period of training. The practical part, first place, was always taken by Mel from the authoritative Garrick Chell family, or protagonist, thought that this time everything will definitely be different, because this year he will take first place after the written part is completed, and several days of preparation have happened. It is time for the practical exam itself. Jason called the protagonist and said that he has been acting strangely lately. Does he have any action plan for the practical part? He said that today he is trying a new approach. Suddenly, Mel came up to him and asked with a cheeky smile what he was doing here. Was he really going to take the exam with his disorder? It was his less MC said that he actually came here to take the exam. What's wrong? The student with the inflated ego put his hand on his shoulder and said that he wanted to give him a little advice instead of going out and humiliating himself. Why not just give up? The protagonist smiled dry and looked at this narcissistic guy and said that he didn't think his advice would be useful to him. In response, he smirked and said that he felt like he misunderstood him. He thought that a person with a magic release disorder would be able to pass the exam normally. The protagonist didn't understand what he wanted from him, and when it would end, Mikkel made a face in irritation. He thought that he hadn't acted so boldly before. Where did Zach's confidence come from? He shouted that he would deal with him in a one-on-one fight. The first part of the practical exam is the target shooting. Officially, this stage is called the multi-target shooting exam. The purpose of the exam is simple: to find out how many targets a future mage can hit at once. However, this year, that difficulty level of the exam has been increased since the targets are constantly moving. Due to this, the average score was simply terrible. One of the exam leaders said, "Who would have thought that the results would drop so much due to a slight complication?" One of the professors turned to his colleague and said that the quality of the current graduates left much to be desired at this moment. Professor L, the potion professor, and Michael's uncle, Jericho, addressed them, addressing his colleagues. He said that it was not the time to be disappointed. It was his nephew's turn, so they should take a look. Mikkel entered the arena, concentrating energy in his hands. He was sure that he would show Ruin the difference between them. The next moment he fired powerful blasts of energy forward, destroying several targets. The students cried out excitedly that this was to be expected from him would. He become first Agonelic seeing his nephew's result, said smugly. Wasn't he a worthy successor to the Jill family? Didn't he think that Mikkel was the pride of their academy? He would definitely be this year's representative at the Grand Festival Tyrion. Ignite, the current head of the academy and a 7th grade archmage, told him that he didn't have to continue. Thought that this time was enough to evaluate the level of the current. Graduates Hihile looked at him and asked, why don't they sit for a little while longer? After all, Ruin would be performing next. The head of the academy asked, did he mean Ruinel? It was hard to believe that he was still visiting the academy. In that case, they would pay tribute to his perseverance and watch his performance. At this moment, our protagonist was already preparing to carry out this difficult task. Wiping his hand, he thought that this was great. This was a great opportunity to test his strength. The teacher said that he could begin after that. He created many fireballs around himself. The Professor Perpelect thought what kind of ridiculously fast summoning speed the students were. Amazed by the number of his fireballs, Mikkel said, with a smug smile, don't they know that he has a disorder of magic release? Let him conjure at least balls. He still needs to hit at least one target with it. This bastard is basically incapable of anything. But before he could finish speaking, the protagonist rushed forward with lightning speed. He used a passive skill called time refraction. It distorts and bends time for seconds. Adds 6 acceleration to his movement equal to % of his physical strength. He went beyond the distorted time cooldown minutes. He thought that he recently received this skill. It helps him move abnormally fast for seconds in any direction he wants. In other words, he is like a typhoon now, releasing energy forward. He thought he had succeeded. The examiner announced that he had hit or gets. The bewildered classmates were talking among themselves. They were surprised that he had summoned magic.